I definitely am going to want you to ask some more questions as well. So I have got some that I've prepped, or Chantel prepped, but we will definitely get round to some questions. So I'm going to get you all to introduce yourselves. So I'm going to pass the mic along, and if you can just do a quick little intro as to who you are.
Hi, I'm Terry May. Oh, there you go. And I'm a digital marketer at a company called Durty, which isn't what it sounds like. And my route was actually career change via an apprenticeship.
Hi, I'm Blaine Epsley. I'm a lecturer in digital arts and technology at the University of Kent. My area of expertise is visual effects, computer animation for film and TV.
Hi, my name's Kat. I work for an independent training provider called IPS. We're based in Rochester. I'm digital marketing coordinator, and it's through the my work experience, that I was able to get where I am now.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm Growth Marketing Manager at Reflect Digital. My area of expertise is very much SEO, and my route into digital marketing was via university.
Amazing. Well, actually, Hannah, keep the mic and I'll shout. So, Hannah, why did you choose university? How long did it take? And were you able to earn money whilst at uni?
So, why I chose university? Quite a few reasons. One of the main ones was I was always set on going to university. I knew I wanted to do a degree and stay in education. Another of the big reasons was I just wanted more independence. I wanted to kind of get away from home, explore a new city, make new friends, and kind of just live life on my own 2 feet. And I guess the last reason as well is I didn't have access to these kind of events when I was at sixth form to learn about the different opportunities and different routes into digital marketing. So for me, I was very much nurtured down a path which was kind of pro-university. And in terms of my degree and how long that was, I was basically at uni for 4 years. I did a degree in advertising and marketing, and it had a placement year within that. And I would say if you are considering university, definitely think about whether you want to do a placement year, because hugely beneficial, and you get invaluable experience. And then, what was the last question? Earning money. So I was really fortunate that basically at my university they had a internship programme, and I essentially managed to get a 6-month internship in my second year of uni, which was paid. So it was great. I was actually paid quite well during that time. And then obviously when I did my placement year, again, that was paid for the year. And I was very fortunate that I managed to get a part-time job at my placement company, which was Reflect Digital, for my final year of university. So again, I managed to earn some money in my last year of uni, which is very, very good as a university student with not a lot of money, basically.
Amazing. If you pass back on to Terry here. So Terry, why did you choose an apprenticeship? How long did it take? And were you earning whilst you were doing it?
Yeah, so for me, I'm a career changer, so I worked in education for 11 years. I really enjoyed it, and that's kind of why I still come and attend and do talks like this, because I missed out a little bit, like you guys, in that I didn't get lots and lots of different events or talks from people, or even speak to a careers advisor when I was at school, and I'm trying to not sound too much like a boomer. But for me, it was really the only route. I didn't really have the opportunity to completely retrain. It's something I wanted to do, but I couldn't just cut my income and go to university for 4 years. That wasn't an option for me. So I looked around, and apprenticeship was the only route, and I was lucky enough to meet Dan, who runs the company, and kind of build my connection up and a relationship with him in a way that he offered me this apprenticeship. And it took about 18 months. It was quite quick. A higher apprenticeship, same level as level 3 that you guys are doing now. And in terms of earning, yes, because I had to. And I still earn now. And yeah, that was the only route for me.
Amazing. Cool. And were you sure on that career path before you started doing the apprenticeship? I guess, how did you know that was definitely going to be right for you? Because I suppose big thing, career change.
Yes, I think any teachers in the room? Did you fall into it? Sort of. I think there are a lot of careers people stumble into it in some form. They don't go, and even now a lot of you guys will be like, I don't know, I have got no idea what I want to do, or I have this vague idea of a career which I'd like to shape, but I've got no idea how to get there or what specific role for what specific company. So for me, I kind of stumbled into career advice and into education, and then from there, I've got a really big passion in technology and gaming, which lots of people in here will be, I'm sure. And for me, I really liked the community aspect of it in terms of potentially someday becoming a community manager one day. But I liked that interaction between company and community. And so for me, marketing was kind of, I guess, the best choice overall. And I know that it's quite broad. You'll know it's a very broad industry. But I liked that kind of client management / community building / content creation side of stuff. So yeah, marketing, I guess, was what fit me most to potentially move on to in the future. But to be honest, I'm quite happy where I am. So
amazing, really good. And if we can pass along to Blaine. So Blaine, what benefits do you see for students that complete their degree?
So that's quite an interesting question, actually, because I would argue that it's not necessarily the completion of the degree, but it's the journey you go on when you come to university and all of the stuff you do whilst you're with us. Like Terry was saying there, probably the majority of you sitting down here don't really know exactly what you want to do when you grow up and have to get a full-time job, just like me. When I was probably 23 by the time I really decided that I wanted to go into visual effects and animation for film. And then, as things transpired, eventually decided to come back and teach that in university. So I think the process of coming to university and being there, and being in the environment and all the people you meet and the lifestyle, that is kind of like the biggest thing about university. I hate to say it, but it's kind of like what Gary was saying about the CV situation. I don't think in 13 years, I'm 33 now, I don't think in my professional career I've ever shown my degree certificate to anyone, except for becoming an academic, because that's like a big tick box. You have to have a master's at least. So I think that that bit of paper at the end, it's nice, it's reaffirming that you've achieved something that a lot of people don't. But it's about the people you're with day to day and the lecturers that you're with day to day. The freedoms that you have to explore different things, and the variety of outcomes that it can lead to. That's kind of like the biggest things about that.
Yeah, no, really nice. And a slightly off-tangent question, but how's the pandemic changed how studying at university is? Because that's probably quite an interesting one.
Yeah, massive. So I would say certain universities dealt with it very well. Being a digital program, a digital set of courses that we teach, we adopted to online teaching and digital teaching using different technologies very quickly, so we were able to deal with it really, really easily. I imagine, things like history of art probably had a much bigger challenge ahead to kind of deal with that situation. We moved a lot of things online. The nature of the stuff we're talking about today is all very practical and it's all very hands-on. Obviously, as soon as we got the opportunity, we dived straight back into the labs and into the practical work settings and using all the equipment that's available at the university. But it was kind of a blended approach. What's nice is that blended approach of online teaching versus in face-to-face teaching, we kept the best bits of that when we moved back into transitioning to full face-to-face teaching, over the last year. So, yeah, it's kind of like we're seeing a silver lining of keeping the best bits of that, all of the online learning platforms we're using, game engines to teach stuff now, being able to jump into an Unreal Engine game where you can walk around and watch lectures and learn about different things. So, yeah, we kept all the good bits and kind of discarded the bad bits of COVID as quickly as we could.
That's awesome. No, it's nice. There's been lots of silver linings, I think, in work and in studying. So if you could pass on to Kat, so what benefits do you see for students that complete an apprenticeship?
Okay, well, first of all, they're going to gain a nationally recognised qualification, and you're also earning a salary while you're learning. So you'll be given support from a trainer throughout your apprenticeship, and just able to as I said, earn a salary. At the moment, the apprenticeship wage is £4.30 an hour. It is going up to £4.81 from the 1st of April, but many employers will pay more than that. So sometimes with apprenticeships, people can be put off with the hourly rate, but it doesn't necessarily mean that is what you're going to get. So that's always positive. Yeah.
Amazing, really good. And do you think, because do they often, I don't know whether you'll know stats on this, but how often do people do the apprenticeship and then get to stay in the company that they were in? So they've kind of just bought themselves a job almost at that point. They've trained and then they stay.
Well, nobody's obviously guaranteed.
No.
It's like with any job, isn't it? But during your apprenticeship, your employer will get to know you. So unlike if you come out of university, and there's nothing wrong with going to university, but if you come out of university, your employer that you're going for won't know you, whereas whoever you've been training with will know you. So that also gives you a better chance of getting the job.
And I'm just seeing another cat question while we're here. How does the actual apprenticeship work? Like the practical info? Are there certain times of the year that you can start? Does it follow a school year kind of thing?
So you can apply, it depends on the apprenticeship. So we do a lot of engineering apprenticeships, and they have an intake of once a year, and that's in September. But generally, other apprenticeships you can apply any time of the year. As long as you are over 16, not in full-time education, and live in England, then you can apply for apprenticeship. Anyone at any age can apply for apprenticeship. Sorry, what was the second part?
And how does it work? Does someone come to a company like yours and you'll help find an employer, or do you find an employer that wants to do an apprenticeship?
So what we would normally advise is to go to the findapprenticeship.gov website, and there you'll be able to see the list of employers who are looking for apprenticeships and also the training provider. And that's how we would advise it. You can approach them as well directly to see if there are any apprenticeships. Maybe they're advertising them on their website, but the Find Apprenticeship website is the best and the first place to go.
Perfect. And then coming back to Blaine. So Blaine, how important is the university versus the course?
Yeah, I think that's something that often gets overlooked. It's the natural route. I've kind of got like the easier part of the talk here because, like we've already covered, this is probably the thing that you've been hounded about, since you were 16. Where do you want to go to university? What university do you want to go to? What course do you want to study? You're probably getting asked this question a lot from family, friends, teachers. It's the natural route to go, but. That's not to say that there isn't a time and a place and a particular type of person that would be more suited to an apprenticeship, because they're very different things. What was the question?
So it was. So how important is the university versus?
So yeah, the actual place, the place you go to is really important. You spend a lot of time there, right? So you need to like it. Also, accommodation. The biggest recommendation I have is to visit the university that you want to go to. Every year we get students that come to university that haven't been here before. They don't really know the campus very well. We're very lucky at Kent because we've got a really beautiful campus. Everything's in one campus pretty much. We've got a few little kind of satellite places. We've got one up here in Medway, up at the historic dockyard as well. But the place you're going to be spending all your time, and quite often you'll be spending more time with your friends and with your colleagues on your course in your own time rather than in lectures or in classes and stuff like that. So you need to get that balance right. You need to really enjoy the place you're at as well. It's really important. It's something that gets overlooked. Visit your universities.
Definitely. And with something like digital, where things are moving all the time, how well do the university courses stay up to date with the fact that things are just rapidly changing?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and something that I think you should all kind of try and build the confidence to ask your universities when you go to visit them, because it's quite a hard question to ask, academics when they're sat in front of you trying to sell you a product, basically. They're trying to sell you their course. I'll be doing the same today. But ask them those hard questions because things in digital move so quickly. If they're doing it right, I'll give you some examples of things that we do. We have industrial panels that inform our course that we meet with twice a year. So we get very regular feedback in terms of the content of the course, but also the requirements for industry. So we meet with digital marketing professionals or visual effects professionals from the film industry, and we ask them what do they look for in a student graduating, because the gap between industry and graduation level can often seem really big. So we do everything we can to close that gap to make you more employable by the end of the course. So make sure whatever university you're going to visit, the questions you're asking, bring that up. Make sure that they have industry information and up-to-date current standards that they're teaching. An example of that is just this year we've started teaching a completely new bit of software because one of our industrial panel members from Nintendo in Germany asked our students to have that skill set. So we've written in a whole new bit of software to the program just to tick that box. And that will tick a lot of boxes for a lot of other companies as well. So it's a benefit for the students and us.
Amazing. Before I carry on, any questions? Any hands? Because I'll keep going. I'm going to keep going then, but I'll come back to you in a minute. So I guess for Hannah and, for Hannah first, what options do you feel are open to you based on your qualification?
So I think one, having the under a degree qualification, but plus the kind of the placement year that I did and the experience that I gained opened a lot of doors. I mean, for starters, I was really lucky that my placement year at Reflect meant I got a job afterwards. And I know a lot of my friends at university that also did a placement year had the same experience as me. So they went on to then work at the same company, either on a graduate scheme or just as like an assistant, for example. But I do think, and one of the things that I'm more aware of having done my degree, is that, especially for roles in digital marketing, I would argue that the experience is almost more important than the degree. The degree definitely helps you, and like Blaine was saying, it's more the process that you go on during the degree that you actually find out more about yourself as a person. Again, it goes back to that independent. You get more independence. You're away from home. You haven't got your mum and dad doing everything for you. But really, for me, it was that experience element of the degree, doing that placement year, which I think has put me in a much stronger position. That when I came out of uni, I was essentially more qualified than other students that have also got a degree but don't have the experience. So for me, having both was a real win-win. And I would say, if you are going for a degree, and you have the option to do a placement year, definitely consider it, because it is invaluable and it does just help you get that foot in the door, basically.
And student debt, how was that for you?
Yeah, so
Stressful thing?
I think it's it's a very mixed, controversial topic. I think a lot of people have different opinions and different attitudes towards student debt, and I think as someone, I think it's probably about 50K's worth of student debt, so there's a lot of money there. But honestly, I'm not fazed by it, and I think it's one of those things. It's not like a phone bill, it's not like a gym membership, it's not like paying car finance, for example, where you see that money going out each month. It is more like a tax where it's automatically deducted off of your payslip, for example. And it is quite a minimal amount. So for me, I don't see a massive impact of having to pay that student debt back each month. And it is something to note that I think it might have changed, but you don't end up paying your student debt until you earn over $25,000 a year. And I believe, again, it might have changed, but I think it gets wiped after 30 years. Whatever you haven't paid back essentially gets wiped. So whilst I think some people do stress about it, I personally wouldn't, because, you honestly don't see that money coming out each month. It seems scary, but it really isn't as scary as it is.
And one more question for Terry, if we come back down this end. Just what options do you feel are open to you now you've got your apprenticeship? Like, did it open different doors?
Yeah, so I guess one of the reasons I career changed originally was I wanted to work in the games industry. So I'll have to chat with you later on, because it'd be cool to share experiences. And I had this passion and drive, and I wanted to. I've played games, but it's been a big part of my life for too long. And so I applied for a few jobs, and I applied, if you know companies, Frontier, Jagex, Creative Assembly, who are part of Sega, And I got further in the interview process than I thought I would do, I'd say that. But it was always about experience for me and a kind of barrier in, I just didn't have the technical / industry knowledge, even from pulling on my passion and my hobbies and what I could do in my spare time. I didn't have actual in industry, getting paid to do the job experience. So that was a big barrier for me moving on to when I originally set off on this career change. But now I feel like I would definitely smash those interviews more than I would now, because they were a couple of questions where I just didn't know about branding and I didn't know about, content or what I feel would work really well on their social, how I would interact with the community. I didn't have that knowledge then, whereas I do now. But at the same time, that journey that I've taken now has put me in a job which I really enjoy. And I'm not saying that because Dan might see this video. I'm saying that because I do really enjoy the company. So I think it's not just... People think, I really enjoy and admire this brand, and we mentioned like Coke and Gymshark. But as you move towards that company or the journey that you take, you might find a smaller brand which you actually really love, and you become even more passionate about that along the way. And that's kind of what I found here, because it has the same values that I have, rather than the perceived values that another brand might have.
Amazing. Any questions? Oh, there's one right at the back.
Where's the best place to find an apprenticeship?
Hi. So the best place is the findapprenticeship.gov.uk website. So that's the first place that you'd want to go to find, and it lists all of the apprenticeships that are available in England at the moment, so all over the country. Can I just also add about the student debt? So I know Hannah was saying about the debt. So with an apprenticeship, obviously you're earning a salary and you receive your qualification and you don't have any debt. So it is, and it's not, the academic way is not going to be everybody's way. But doing a digital marketer apprenticeship isn't going to put you on the back foot against a university degree, and you are going to walk away with a qualification without any debt.
Love that. So, and I guess just the only thing I'll add at the end is I didn't do either, and you can still get somewhere. So I think, take the pressure off of yourselves and take the route that feels right for you, because everything we're talking about here is perfect and will suit somebody, but it might not suit you. So it's try and find what's right for you.